Today's episode of the Restoration Today podcast is brought to you by Encircle's brand new feature, Floor Plan. With Floor Plan, restorers can actually get same-day floor plans right to their smartphone. It's super easy and literally takes 5 minutes to scan a loss. If you haven't seen it yet, check out getencircle.com/floorplan to get all the details. Hello there. Thanks for checking out this episode of the Restoration Today podcast. Today, I am excited to be joined by somebody who I consider one of the funniest people in the restoration industry, but he refuses to do a podcast of his own, so he has to come on mine. I am joined by Jeff Jones, who is the Director of Sales and Marketing for Violand Management Associates. Jeff is a great friend in the industry, somebody that I met really early on in my career in restoration when I joined the industry in 2015, because he's been here longer than that. So we are here today to talk about sales and marketing and the RIA and reasons to get involved in the industry and a whole bunch of different things, including how do you even choose a consultant when there are so many out there in this industry? So, Jeff, thank you very much for joining me. I am just going to toss it right over to you and have you introduce yourself and share a little bit about your background, because I know that you weren't always in the restoration industry like most of us. So where did you come from and how did you get here?
Absolutely. Well, first, Michelle, thank you very much. Pleasure. Very honored that you asked me to be part of this. I've watched a lot of these and these are fantastic. And we like to spread these out on our social media as well. We want people to view these as often as possible. You do such a great job.
Thank you.
I stumbled into sales accidentally when I was in college at the University of Toledo, probably because I didn't know any better. And I spent my first 5 years upon graduation for a company called Shaw Industries, who's the world's largest manufacturer of floor covering. Went into the family business, which is Ace Hardware Retail. Worked with my father for quite a while, really enjoyed it. Left for what I perceived to be a great opportunity as a vice president of sales for a small enzyme cleaning product. Unfortunately, that opportunity didn't work out. And for the first time in my life, found myself unemployed. Went on to something called monster.com, which I'm not even sure is still around anymore.
I don't know either.
Came across this company that I couldn't pronounce, and I wasn't 100% sure what they did, but they were about 5 minutes down the street from me. And they had the word ethic in the job posting 3 times. And at that point in my life, that was exactly what I was looking for, was a company with high ethics. So I applied for it and I was fortunate enough to get hired. And that was just over 10 years ago. So I am the Director of Sales and Marketing at what I now know is properly pronounced Violand Management Associates.
I've heard it pronounced many different ways over the years.
We have long-time clients that can't pronounce it correctly. I stopped trying to fix it.
They know what they're talking about. You know what they're talking about. Ace is kind of a funny place. Ace, I didn't really mean that. Anyway, the jingle got that
Ace
in
is
there.
the place.
Yeah. I worked at Ace, as did my husband back in the day. And I remember when I worked there, tons of people would also come and be like, I worked at an Ace back in the day. There's something about Ace Hardware where I feel like it's like 50% of the US population. It was part of their rite of passage to work at an Ace Hardware. So
it's great. We learned a lot and got to be part of the community, just like restoration business. You get to know your community, be part of it and help people when they need it and try to make a buck or two along the way.
Yes. Okay. So what trends are you seeing in restoration sales? I mean, I know that you just did a great presentation at Core and you talked about kind of some of the do's and don'ts of sales. What are some of the trends you're seeing, especially now that we've kind of come out of the pandemic and we need to kind of shift how we're doing things a little bit? What are some of the trends you're seeing in sales?
Some of what we're seeing, a lot of it, and we used to do a sales training class prior to COVID. And when that happened, we had to shut the entire class down because a lot of what we were teaching didn't work anymore. So we had to completely revamp it. And so what you're seeing a lot more of nowadays is people better understanding the importance of relationship building, as well as using technology and doing more of those lunch and learns and being able to provide different types of value when they go in, rather than just walking in with a bunch of pens and some pamphlets and saying, hey, great to see you. How are the kids? You got any broken pipes I can help you with? So people are finally understanding the importance of actually bringing value and earning the sale before you have the guts to ask for it.
So how do you define the difference between sales and marketing? I think people get them confused and they are not the same.
They're not the same. I look at marketing more as the offensive line. Mm-hmm. Marketing's job is to clear the holes, get rid of all the past, to overcome a lot of the objections, because the marketer's job is to put in the mind of the consumer that you are these things that you claim that you are somebody who amplifies customer service and can take care of the problem, that you've got a great name and a reputation. They're the ones who are going to build that on your behalf. The salesperson is really the person that's got to go in and get the signature on the document. So a marketing rep is going to be somebody who's out calling on agents and adjusters, really hoping for the next time that a pipe bursts, so the next time that it floods. That's going to be your marketing person. Your salesperson is, they could be chasing fire trucks, but more likely than that, they're sitting in Mrs. Johnson's living room and they're the ones who are directly asking for the close.
So what does it take to be successful at selling a service? We sell something that hasn't happened yet a lot of the time. That's what our business development reps are doing. This hasn't happened yet, but I still have to sell it to you. So what are some of your tips for getting that done?
A lot of booze, just a lot of long nights. Bullheadedness, I think, is a big piece to it. When it comes to, I tell this story. I found a pencil in a drawer in our office, and I absolutely love this pencil. I don't even write with pencils. I love this pencil, and I went out and bought a bunch of them. I brought some home. My wife went ahead and bought some. You know why we love it? Because we can pick the thing up and we can use it. And that's such an easier opportunity. You can test drive the car. You can push buttons on the phone or the iPad. And with the service, that's not there. So they don't have an opportunity to test drive your service, which makes it really, really difficult. On top of that, they don't want it. Nobody wants their basement to flood, so that you have the opportunity to show how good you are at drying things.
Yep.
And more often than not, unless you are chasing the fire trucks, they don't need it. You're asking for the next time something happens, so they can't try it out, they don't want it, and they don't need it. And yet we treat this position as it's some kind of entry-level sales job. We're hiring somebody who's got maybe 1 or 2 years of experience, and they're getting paid lower on the pay scale when they're starting out. And it's not. This is an exceptionally difficult sales position. I'd much rather walk in with a box of donuts and tell you about my heart medication pill and make 6 figures than go and try and convince you how much I want to suck sewer water out of your basement at 2:00 in the morning. But I'm going to make half as much money. And so that's something that we as an industry need to understand. There's reasons why your salespeople are struggling, and there's a lot more resources that you've got to be able to give them if you want to see some kind of a true sales growth and see them stick around longer than 2 years.
So what does sales training look like in the restoration industry then? There are so many different courses that people can go through, and sales is so different everywhere. So what are some of the good resources? You can do a plug here if you want.
You're right. There are absolutely a ton of great sales clubs. Yes, Violand, we have ours, and I know that there are plenty of others that are out there that are fantastic sales programs. The problem isn't the availability of the sales programs. On average, now this is not restoration specific, this is across the board sales specific. It will cost you about $12,000 to $15,000 to hire a sales professional. Yet on average, you're going to spend $2,000 in training them. And that's a significant problem, because I've got research that will show that a salesperson who has a continual educational process where they are constantly in some sort of sales development, some sort of sales training program, will outsell 2 to 1 somebody who is not. But we bring them on board and we ride with them for 4 days, and we go visit our 3 best adjusters and our 3 best agents who the owner has the relationship with. And the entire time the agent talks to the owner, and the sales rep stands on the side like an idiot. And we give them the pamphlets and we give them the pens, and we tell them that people want to buy from us because we're locally owned. And we're so good at customer service, and we have the best equipment, and we have all the IICRC certification. Well, who's not? Which one of your competitors is walking out there going, yeah, I got a YouTube video and I got a box fan and I think I can plug this thing in correctly? Which one of them's going, hey, I'd give you my cell phone number, but I don't want you calling. Everybody pushes customer service. So if everybody's excellent at customer service, how is that actually possible? What defines true excellent customer service? And I think too often we don't ask. And we don't ask because we haven't gotten the training, not because it's not available, but because we don't invest in it for our salespeople. I'll give you a classic example. We do all sorts of different types of professional training. We don't do anything technical, but all sorts of professional training. And I'll get people call me up all the time going, hey, I just hired this estimator. I need to get them in your restoration estimating class or your project management class. Or I just promoted this person into a supervisor role. Can we get supervisory training for them? Yeah, absolutely. We can do all that. But then I'll get this one. Yeah, we just hired a salesperson. Oh, that's great. Hey, we got a sales training class coming up. You want to talk through it? No, let me give him about 4 months. Let me see how he does. And if he does okay after 4 months, then we'll talk. It's the only one that we offer that I get that objection. Let me see if they can swim first before I teach them how. And it doesn't make a lot of sense, but a lot of it also comes back to the fact that a lot of owners don't know how to manage salespeople. They can manage an estimator, they can manage a project manager, because we're either getting it restored or we're not. We're either getting the estimate completed or we're not. But the salesperson shows up, drinks coffee for 15 minutes, wastes everybody's time, gets in his or her car, and you don't see him again until the next day, when they walk in and tell you how they had 4 great conversations and everybody loves them. But you don't actually have any understanding of what came out of those conversations, because you don't know how to manage, so you don't know the questions to ask them. And you probably hate salespeople, so you don't really want to be around them all that much. They need to get out and sell, not waste their time at your desk is what you're thinking, because you're paying them all this money.
So how do they become the people that customers like as well? Like, okay, yeah, they're standing around the office wasting people's time drinking their coffee or whatever that may be, but they also have to, like, they need to be likable out in the field. So how are they going to be likable out in the field? That sales is, I don't know, a different animal.
It is, and likability is absolutely important. And I think likability is easier for a lot of salespeople to accomplish. Just don't be a jerk type of thing. And traditionally, you're going to hire somebody that you particularly like to put into that role. So they're going to come in with automatically a high degree of likability. But it's not likability that actually produces results anymore. It's actually trustability. So it's okay to be likable, but at the end of the day, when I absolutely need something, when this is a serious matter, when it's really, really important, am I going to call the person that I like, or am I going to call the person that I trust? And you will always call the person that you trust when it's something of great value and importance. So what we're trying to teach and what we're trying to express is how to build trust, and build it proactively, by not just, we can all be experts at restoration services, or I could be an expert in professional training or coaching. But if I really want to help out your business, I need to be able to provide resources outside of that with the sincere expectation of nothing in return. So if I can be a wider breadth of resources for you and be able to provide these different things. And the way that you do that, again, is by asking the right types of questions and open-ended questions long before you ever go into any kind of sales presentation. You find out where their needs are, and whether your product or service is going to solve them or not. You need to go out of your way to be able to provide them the tools and the guidance that's either going to help them make more money as a business, or be able to provide a better service to their customers. Because if you can help them grow their business, then they're going to begin to trust you, because you're doing it proactively and you're doing it with nothing in return.
Okay. So I was actually just talking to a new content manager in the industry today, and she was asking me, how do I learn more? Where do I go? What are the resources I look to? Is there a Restoration 101 place that I can go? What do you recommend to other people, especially new salespeople coming into the industry, where it's like, I have no idea what any of this is? Where do you point them to start learning about the industry?
Yeah, there are some LinkedIn groups that are out there. There's some Facebook groups out there. Those are very easy to join. They don't cost you any kind of money. But it's like anything. If you join a fraternity in college and never go to any of the meetings, you don't get anything out of it. If you join what are they, BNA groups here locally, and you don't go, you don't get anything out of it. So if you do join those groups, you have to participate a lot more than you're going to have to expect in order to get anything back out of it. Once you move on beyond that, I'm a firm believer in the RIA, Restoration Industry Association. If your company is not a member of the RIA, you need to be, and you need to be quickly and soon. And that's another one. The more that you put into it, the more you're going to get back out of it. And then I believe it is really the responsibility. The owners and managers of restoration companies are doing a lousy job of putting their salespeople into classes. But to be fair and honest, restoration salespeople are doing a lousy job of going to the owner or manager and saying, hey, I need this, because they need to be able to open up. And a lot of times as a salesperson, you want to sort of fake it till you make it. And you don't want people to know that maybe you're not so good in a certain area until it becomes apparent and they figure it out. And that's way worse. So we want to encourage salespeople to find the areas where you are the weakest and go to the owner, go to the manager. And don't just go and say, I need training, but Google it. Get on those Facebook groups, get on those LinkedIn groups, get a hold of people in the RIA, call Violand Management or any of the other coaching services that are out there. Find out what resources are out there. So when you go to the owner, you have those intact. and you're saying, hey, these are the classes, these are the takeaways, this is how it's going to help me, this is the cost, this is the return that you're going to get on it, so that they're saying that you're serious about it, because they don't want to just enroll you in a class because that day you feel like getting some help. So you have to demonstrate that you are serious about it.
That makes good sense. What's the difference between a hunter and a farmer in sales, especially in relation to restoration and cleaning and the services we're selling?
That's a great question, because I think it's another area in which restoration companies fail miserably, is they hire hunters to be farmers and farmers to be hunters. And I'm going to tell you that both have an exceptionally important role to play. One's not more important than the other. They're very different, and they are both sales, but they're different types of sales. So if you go into a T-Mobile or you go into an AT&T store and you talk to somebody about a phone and they do a fantastic job and you end up buying all these different things, that person's probably a farmer. You came to them, then they nurtured the sale up from there. So if you have a position and you know this position is really going to be responsible for taking care of your plumbers or taking care of the agents or adjusters or program work or whatever that is, you want to look with somebody who has a farming background. They're more comfortable when you come to them. The phone rings and they answer the phone. That type of person will be excellent at it. They're going to be very organized. They're going to get their endorphin rush, their excitement out of customer service and selling, because they're doing a great job with customer service. Whereas a hunter is somebody who's going to be out windshield time, knocking on doors, getting appointments, walking in, making the presentations, making the pitches, doing the cold calling, doing the tough part that comes with that. And they're going to get their rush by getting the kill. And the kill in this case is getting the sale. And so you have to identify, when I hire a salesperson, do I need them to take care of the people that we have right now and be able to grow that business? Or do I need somebody who's going to go out and knock on doors and generate new leads and new business and maybe new market segments that are out there, and hire accordingly for those different positions? And don't ask one to be the other and vice versa. And I get this question all the time. Well, can't you just find somebody who's good at both? Well, you can, and they're going to work for you for about 6 months and they're going to leave you and start their own business. Okay, they're unicorns. There's not a lot of them who are out there. So identify which one that it is, and then put them in the appropriate role and let them do their job and get out of the way.
Get out of the way.
Get out of the way.
What role do you find branding plays when it comes to sales and overall, I guess, community, how a community views a company?
Yeah, branding, I think, in restoration is exceptionally difficult. It really is. And I've done different branding projects with different companies that are out there, because so much of what we do is very similar to others who are out there. And a lot of the things that mean a lot to us, like being locally owned or being around since 1947 or having certified restorers or whatever it is, that there are a lot of others who are out there who do have that. And so to me, branding to me really comes down to being, how much can you prove that you're part of the community? And what are you doing that's out there that is really helping community events? And how can you be active in the schools? How can you be active in Boy Scouts? How can you be active in youth sports programs and bands and all those different things that are out there that show that, hey, we are a company, and yes, our kids go to school together, but we're also a community. And the reason why we do get out of bed at 2 o'clock in the morning to go suck sewer water out of your basement is because we want to give back to the community. Now, yeah, we're going to make a buck hopefully doing it. But to me, that's the branding piece that companies need to do a little bit better job on.
Yeah.
This idea of, I've got 40 trucks, they don't care. They're going to go on your website and they're going to see a burned down house. Well, think about it. Their house just burned down. Do they want to look at pictures of other burned down houses? But that's what's on all the websites that are out there, flooded basements and burned down houses. No, they want to see that you're part of the community, that you care, that you give back. And that should really be your branding message. And I think it needs to tie back to your specific core values that you have implemented in the business. And if you haven't done that yet, you need to sit down and put together the core values, put together your mission statement, put together your vision statement. They're more than just tools. They're more than just something you frame and throw up on the wall. They are living, breathing documents that guide you forward. And then adjust your branding to what those things say they are, because then they're genuine. As long as you're living them out, then they're genuine, then they're real, and then people can appreciate them.
And if you're not living them out, I can do the exact opposite, and people aren't going to
Don't
like
hang them on the wall then. Don't tell people.
yeah, don't let them know. Okay, let's talk about the RIA some. You and I have both been involved for a while, you longer than me. And I think anybody listening to this knows that the RIA has been a bit of a roller coaster over the last few years, but I think now it's amazing, and association headquarters running it is wonderful, and great board of directors, everything, like everything's really running and really good now. So what prompted you to get involved in the first place, and why would you encourage other people to get involved now?
Yeah, I did. It was actually the owner of our company, Chuck Violand, who's now a former past president of the RIA, but this was long before that, when he was just getting onto the board. And I saw the organization. It was I think the second trade show that I had ever gone to. I had a high opinion of the people who I met, the restorers that I met at RIA, and I wanted to learn more about it. But the idea of the organization made a lot of sense, because you have tens of thousands of restoration companies scattered all across the country, and you have some that are franchises and independents and everything in between, and mom and pops, and the variety of different types of companies. But yet it seemed like all the insurance companies were acting as one, and the restoration companies were lost. And I viewed RIA as an opportunity for that to change. And there have been some absolutely incredible leadership and people at the RIA over the last couple of years that I think have done an amazing job of making that happen.
Yep.
And I watched how much time Chuck spent when he was president of the organization. He spent as much time as the president of RIA as he did as the leader of Violand Management for a couple of years. And that's the dedication that these people are putting in, solely because they love the industry and they want to give back. And I think, I've been in RIA now, I think 9 years. I don't think I was my very first year. I would tell you that this is the most excited I've ever been about the organization. There were times where I'm going, okay, this might not be what I think it is. And absolutely not. This momentum that they have, the changes that they're making, and what's still coming. And now they've made a great change to where we're adjusting the pricing on it so that it's much more affordable for companies of all different sizes, and be able to provide so many more resources that it proves, as a business owner, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. All of this stuff is in place. You just need to be able to get it and implement it and be coached through how to manage those changes. And those are the differences that the RA has, plus the AGA and the changes that are being made there, that they are speaking on behalf of the industry, and they're making a difference. And it's very positive, and I'm exceptionally proud to be part of the organization.
I am as well. So for anybody that's listening to this, you can reach out to Jeff or I for information, or you can go to restorationindustry.org. There's lots of information and lots of amazing changes going on. Don't miss the next event. This year's event was amazing, and I felt bad for anybody that missed it. So don't miss 2023.
Yeah, we're both on the membership committee, so we can help you as far as learning all about it and becoming more involved.
Yes. What value do you find in events in the industry? There are so many different ones to choose from. So do you ever offer unbiased guidance to people? I know I'm not trying to walk you into a trap here. I'm not, I promise. Guidance on how to choose, a few events a year that are really good ones to be at, really good people that you're going to meet at those events. That's a huge part of all the events, right? Is kind of who's there and who you can network with. But what tips do you give people when they're trying to decide where to spend their money when it comes to travel?
There are too many events, is what it feels like, as somebody who has to travel to most of them. And I can't tell you I've been to a bad trade show. They've all got different pieces and parts to them. I know we were just at one down in Austin at Core, and that one was unbelievable. They did an amazing job at that. RIA was incredible this year in Reno, and I'm expecting big things in Orlando next year. There are outstanding events that are part of it. So what I would say is look at the organizations that are putting on these events and try and find one that matches up most with where your needs are. Because I can promise you, any of them that you go to, you will have outstanding networking opportunities. They all build networking time into their platforms. And we have to, because I've been on the membership planning committee at RIA, and of course here at Violand, we do a couple of our own events that you would count as industry events. And when you get those surveys back, all of them, just no matter how much time, we do an event down in Captiva Island, Florida for business planning at the end of the year. 50% of the time is spent on networking. And we get the surveys back and they ask for more networking. So that is a big thing that people want. So what I would push back on that is it's not necessarily more networking, but before you go to one of these events, sharpen the saw. Stephen Covey's 7 Habits, the 7th habit, sharpen the saw. Spend some time learning how to network correctly. So that a lot of times what happens is you meet somebody and you end up hanging out with the same 1 or 2 people the entire time. And that's not necessarily the goal of these types of events. So I would highly encourage, and there's plenty of YouTube videos and stuff you can do on LinkedIn to find out tips and tricks for proper networking. Invest in yourself a little bit and get better at doing that, and then go to the show so you're going to get more out of it.
Yes. And also look through the agenda and don't miss out going to breakouts. That happens a lot. There are so many people that go to events and don't go to breakouts at all, or just wing it when they get there and then don't know what they're walking into and it doesn't relate to them at all whatsoever. So plan ahead, look at the agenda. They're usually there ahead of time. Yeah. Yes. What are some of your favorite books and resources for you to continue learning as you grow in your role?
So I use something called the Mount Rushmore program. I don't know if I made it up or if I heard it from somewhere, but I'll take credit for it either way.
Okay.
I find in different things, I have 4 mentors in the industry for the restoration industry. I have 4 people I look to who are outside of the industry for business. I have 4 people who work in sales in the restoration industry. Now, I don't tell them that they're on my Mount Rushmore, but internally I view it that way. And okay. I will rely on them a lot. Just call or send text or, hey, 5 minutes, can I run by this? Because I greatly respect their opinion.
Yep.
And a lot of times I can get kind of tunnel vision in my own little Violand world. So I need somebody who's outside of it to tell me when I'm being an idiot or to rethink different things. When it comes to books, there's a couple that I absolutely love. Storybook, selling a storybook brand. And I'm not in my office. I'm working from home today. So
I know you're talking about Story Brand. Yep.
Story Brand. Another one called Selling the Invisible. There's one called Verbal Judo. Big fans of those 3. There's also 2 books that I think that it's important that you reread them every couple of years. And I don't want to get all religious on you, but I think the Bible works that way. You can sit and you can read the Bible, and the words stay the same, but the verses change by your perception based on where you are at that point in your life. And I think there's 2 business books that are out there that will do the same thing. They're both easy reads. One of them is Covey, is 7 Habits, and the other one is Who Moved My Cheese? Dr. Spencer Johnson, I want to say. But they're both very easy books that you read it once and then put it on the shelf and put a reminder in your calendar every 2 years or every 5 years to sit down and reread those books. They're quick reads, because the words, while they stay the same, will change depending on where you are in life and how you can interpret it at that point.
Okay, so talking about Violand a little bit more, I'm not trying to walk you into a trap with this question, I promise, but I have people ask me all the time and make comments like, wow, there's a consultant on every corner now, or anybody's been in the industry for 2 years and now they're a consultant. Like, and our industry has a lot of that going on right now. And I asked the same thing of like chemical companies and moisture, like, how do you recommend people go about finding a consultant that's right for them? Because I think you would also say that Violand isn't right for everybody necessarily. Every company is different. So what steps do you recommend for companies that they say, I think I need help, I think I need a consultant, but I don't know where to start?
Yes, there is a consultant on every single corner. And I think every day I find a new one. Because it is such a low bar of entry. It's very easy to get into carpet cleaning. It's very easy to get into water restoration. It's exceptionally easy to get into business consulting. $500, become an LLC and print off a couple business cards and you're a consultant. There's no test. I think that most of the consultants who are out there will generally care about you and your business, and they'll give you the best advice that they are aware of, that they know that they do want to see you grow and they want to do an exceptional job. That being said, it's a relationship. There's 3 people in your life you should never, ever lie to: your doctor, your lawyer, and your consultant. Because nothing good is going to come from that. But it becomes really hard because a good consultant is going to call you out. A good consultant is going to hold you accountable. And that's the number one reason why truly you hire a consultant isn't because you think that we have some silver bullet answer that nobody else has ever thought of, because I probably don't. It's I'm willing to call you out on your BS. And that's what, myself included, I've gone through plenty of coaching. Most of it's because Chuck told me I had too much BS and I had to get called out on it. But you hire somebody who is going to take the time to become personally invested in you and your business and your employees. So find the person that you trust, and ask them challenging questions. And if they're hiding anything in the intake process, that's a red flag. And if you're hiding anything from them, that's a red flag, because you got to be able to tell your consultant things that you're not going to tell your employees. You're not going to tell your banker, and you probably won't even tell your significant other, but you have to tell somebody. And so that's what a consultant is there for. Now, granted, consultants are going to have some specialties. Some are going to be a little bit stronger in sales, and some are going to be stronger in financials or this or that. So you also want to pair it up with what they're best known for. And the other one is get a list of their clients. And any good consultant's going to give you a list of former clients and active clients. And what I tell ours is every single question's on the table. I need you to know everything you need to know to make the decision that is best possible for you and your company, or don't hire us. And if you're only 98% sure you want to do this, don't hire us. We don't need to take your money. You've got to be all in, because as great as it sounds that we're going to help you grow the business, it's not all puppies and rainbows. And a lot of times we're going to tell you things that you probably already know and you definitely don't want to hear. And you're on the other end of the phone just swearing under your breath at your consultant about how mad you are because they're calling you out right now. And then you hang up the phone and you got to cut a check to them. And that is exceptionally difficult. But that's why when you hire a trainer at the gym, you don't hire the one that tells you you're special. You hire the one that slaps the donut out of your hand and do another push-up.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there really are some outstanding consultants in there. I refer business to Phil Rosebrook over at Business Mentors when we're not the right fit, because I know he's going to do a fantastic job. And to me, a rising tide carries all ships. So if we can't help you, I want to see somebody else who can. And there are a lot of other good consultants who are out there, and just ask every possible question you can, do your homework, and find the one that feels right. There's a lot of gut feeling I think that comes with it.
Yes. I think there's like a lot of gut feeling in life, and people don't always trust their gut. And then you find out later, oh, I really should have trusted my gut on that one.
That sounds like a magazine article.
Great. You can write that one. I assign it to you. Okay. Anything else that we should chat about that we haven't covered that you want to add in here?
One quick thing, going back to hunters and farmers.
Yes.
People always ask, how do I really know the difference? Because when you're interviewing somebody, they're going to tell you the answers that you want to hear, they think you want to hear. The best way to tell the difference between a hunter and a farmer is ask them for a picture of their desk. And if you can see the top of their desk on their picture, they are a farmer. If you cannot see it because it's loaded with papers, they are a hunter. I'm going to tell you that the first 5 minutes that Michelle and I were on before we got this thing started was me cleaning this desk. And it's not even my normal desk. So that's part of it. But that's so important, I think, for people to know the difference and embrace both sides, because there is a place for both of them, and know who you're hiring.
Love it. Well, Jeff, it's always a pleasure. I had a great time chatting with you.
For more Restoration Today, visit our website, cnrmagazine.com, or find us wherever you get your favorite podcasts.